if somebody is following Dharma, he cannot undergo sufferings. It's very clearly said in Dharma Shastras that if somebody is pious, if somebody strictly follows Dharma, then he will get only happiness, right? This is a very simple and straightforward statement of Shastra. If you want to be happy, you have to follow Dharma. Dharma rakshati rakshita. If you follow Dharma, Dharma himself will protect you from all the sufferings. And Vipra, Brahmanas, good people, pious people, if somebody takes shelter of them and takes their association and advice, what is the question of suffering? You will be on the right track because you are in the right association and the good association. You will be happy. And Achyuta himself, here Bhishmadev says that you took shelter of Achyuta Ashraya. And he says, still you were suffering. So the question, here of course Prabhupada explains that Bhishmadev is trying to console by this statement, but also he was wondering why Pandavas were suffering. If they were protected by Brahmanas, by religion, by Achyuta himself. So, and the simple answer which Bhishmadev is hinting in this verse is that Krishna is behind this. Otherwise, there is no reasonable explanation why they were suffering. Of course, in our case, to be honest with everyone, we may not be that pious all the time. At least before we became a devotee. So we can explain our sufferings because of our impious activities. And Brahmanas, I don't know if we really took shelter of Brahmanas, and there's not many around anyways. And Achyuta Ashraya, that's also a big question in mind, whether we really took shelter of Krishna or not. But at least in this particular very clear-cut case of Pandavas, they were really pious. They never committed any sinful activities in their life. They were always taking advice of Brahmanas, so much so that even when they went to forest in exile, they had so many Brahmanas around them. There were hundreds of Brahmanas there. They were feeding all these Brahmanas every day. They didn't want to leave the association of Brahmanas even in the forest. They were living there with the Brahmanas, and Yudhishthira was always, talking with the Brahmanas because he had this nature. And of course, Achyuta was right there, right on the spot, and still they were suffering. Sometimes, we have this mentality which is very strong, that since I became a devotee, I shouldn't suffer. Right? It's somewhere there. I'm a devotee. Why I'm suffering? Sometimes we come to Krishna and say, Krishna, something is wrong in your arrangement. Perhaps you didn't notice my great devotion. Why is it? I'm trying to take shelter of you. Why do you send all these terrible things in my life? Like recently also, I was giving some seminar, and I was talking about taking shelter of Krishna, and that you should come to the Lord, and you should say, Krishna, I'm yours, I belong to you. So immediately there was a question. One lady is writing a question. She says, I did this. I came to Krishna. I was so sincere. I told Krishna, Krishna, I'm yours. And immediately I felt so much happiness within my heart. But then, what happened then, I can't even describe. So so many terrible things started happening in my life. Even my parents do not allow me to chant Hare Krishna mantra anymore. And she said, was I not sincere at that time? So I answered, parents of Prahlad Maharaj also didn't allow him to chant Hare Krishna mantra. Doesn't mean that he was not sincere. So, this very notion that as soon as we become devotees, we should be totally free from suffering, actually is the sign of insincerity. This notion is the manifestation of our sakam mentality. The ideal of pure bhakti is we should become Nishkam. And Nishkam means we want happiness of Krishna. And sakam means we want happiness of whom? Yes, we are devotees, we are sakama bhaktas, we are bhaktas, but we are sakama bhaktas. We want happiness of whom? Ourselves. Krishna is there. He's happy anyway. Right? Why should I bother about his happiness? We have to be practical. we do so much tribulations and so much austerities. We get up so early. This is a great austerity. And we chant all these mantras. For what? There should be some practical reason for this. And this practical reason is what? Our own happiness. And that's sakam mentality. And therefore, when something wrong is happening to our life, and inevitably something wrong will happen, I can tell this with a great authority because I've been a so-called devotee for 30 plus years.